I had such a good 6:30 mix this morning too. Hot mics on the mix again. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Shout out to Beth, who always hips me to the hot mic on the radio channel.
Man, at least we're not too off the. At least we're the same on and off the air. I'll say
This
that.
is true.
I'll say
This is true.
I'll say that. Can you imagine?
Don't catch no Trump moments with us off on the hot
Man,
mic.
can you imagine that hot mic moment if we weren't who we really are?
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. What's happening Friday, February 4th, 2022? First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Shout out to the radio listeners on the digital channel. If you want to hear hot mic and catch us saying something, go to firstskyOmaha.com, hit the listen button. Hot mess. Got a good morning from Pops. Good morning, Friday morning, First Sky Squad and family. Appreciate you. Also got a good morning from Josh Tag. Happy Friday, friends. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. And Kate the Soul in the house. What's happening? Gives us a good morning. Tamika Johnson says good Friday morning. What's going on, Kate? How you doing?
Yeah. How's it going? Hopefully the new year is treating you well.
There you go. And Terry Him Petto gives us a good morning with some sunshine.
Let it in.
That was a good catch on that Friends of First Sky Omaha you dropped on there. We're going to talk about that one.
Man, shout out to all the friends, man.
Dude.
We love y'all.
Yep. Really appreciate it. Once again, it is Friday. Thank goodness. Friday, February the 4th, 2022. And you're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich, and of course, all of you who we call the chat chimers.
Man.
Thank you very much for chiming into the chat. And a special shout out again goes to the radio listeners who gets to hear all the hot mics sessions that we do. We're going to get it straight one day. We'll get it straight. But the little bit of the 630 Club music that you heard, let me know if you heard any of it at all, if it was on point. I put some special love into that mix this morning, and guess what?
Ruined.
All you hear was us beatboxing in the microphone and clowning around, talking about the stories. So it is what it is, man. But thanks for joining us today. Today we do have special guests coming in the house today. So stay tuned. We have Rachel Jacobson that's going to come and talk to us about some of these projects that we've been talking about for the last few weeks. Streetcar, library, so on and so forth. She'll have some information for us. And also John Heaston from The Reader is going to join us a little later on in the show. And it's been a long time coming that we get to talk to the man behind the Reader, the El Perico, all the alternative news. He's getting really alternative news started hard in this city. So it'll be a real treat to talk to him for sure.
And find out some of the other things he's been into,
Man, we don't got enough show for that. We got
right.
a whole hour to John Heaston's life because he's done some things in the city in a big way. We got a good morning from Ty Williams. Good morning. Mayor Sanchez says, "Feel good Friday." I like that a lot. Feel good Friday. I'm feeling good too. So
no, you remember that was the thing. That was the thing. We tried to do the Feel Good Fridays because for a stretch there, all the shows were just kind of doomy and gloomy.
It was rough. It was rough that last year. Christy Knorr says good morning. Appreciate you tuning in. Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning. Appreciate you too. A regular contributor to the Friends of First Sky Omaha page.
Yeah, we gotta figure out you ever watch other streams and they got like a badge system. We gotta figure that out.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good idea. I've been kind of doing it manually a little bit. If you see the credits at the end, I definitely drop some names from some regular contributors. But yeah, I do like that. I think they do that on Facebook, don't they? Where they do like a
they do. It's like
top fan.
Top fan, super fan, or something like that. We'll have to look more into that, man. There are limits to our technical wisdom.
If you've been listening to this show at all, you know that is the truth.
I mean, if you caught the 630 mix, you know that.
Want to let everybody know too. Oh, Tamika Johnson's over at YouTube already. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Rome's reviews. He's on there on the ghost pages over there. Appreciate that. Yes, we are on YouTube now. So go to First Sky Omaha, the YouTube channel. Check us out over there. We're also live on Twitter right now, so you can go to First Sky Omaha, the Twitter channel, and also Twitch. I don't know how many people are on Twitch right now. We got a couple, 2 or 3 people that get down on Twitch. So
Yeah, man.
yeah, live on Twitch, First Sky Omaha, the Twitch channel as well. So go check us out over there if you're sick of Facebook. But if you're on Facebook, we encourage you to please share the show so we can tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, and have some more people in for these discussions that we're having. Lots to talk about today. We're actually really backed up on stories.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to order them to get some things together, but I have an idea, kind of a different way I want to approach this. We have many stories, but they can kind of be lumped up into 2 different topics. So I kind of want to toss it to the people and see which direction they want to go with it.
Okay.
We'll leave it to the people.
I also have an idea today. I think we ought to do another little lightning round on some of these stories and see what the people want to talk about as well. So we got a couple strategies we can use to get through some of this.
Yeah. Again, y'all, this is a live conversation. So
yeah,
let us know. What do you what's on your mind? What's on your hearts? Because again, a lot of this stuff we got from you anyway.
I mean, pretty much all of it now, man. We're going to Friends of First Sky Omaha, and everybody that's been contributing stories over there is what we're talking about here now. So
yeah, man,
that's the way it needs to go. We didn't, we want to talk about what we want to talk about, what the whole group wants to talk about. So so that's the way to go. If you have anything that's on your heart and mind, like Buddy said, and we're not on live, dropping in for Friends of First Sky Omaha, because that's where we scour in the morning now to get the stories we're going to talk about today. So
definitely.
Speaking of another contributor, in Omar Valentine says, "Good morning, appreciate you."
Now that brother's been working for sure. Definitely appreciate you. And we're working on spreading that word on trying to get some young folk pointed to them jobs. So let's try to continue to fill that gap.
Yeah, most def. Before we get to those headlines, though, how you doing over there, man? You said little mama is going through a growth spurt.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I am kind of running on fumes right now. Speaking of the itis, I'm tired because little mama had the belly swell last night.
Oh, okay.
Woke up belly swelling when she was crying about that bottle. But it's all good. It's all good. Definitely.
She getting up looking you in the eye now, like, look.
No, she looking me in the eye, taking the bottle out my hand, like, hey, now you need to get a little pep in your step now.
Well, that's a sign of a healthy baby.
It is. No complaints except for I could use a couple more winks, but that's all right. We here, and it didn't even really dawn on me in the midst of all that today was Friday. So feeling a little better about that. Feeling a little better.
Yeah, that's what's up. You got plans for the weekend?
Work.
Yeah. Same here, brother.
Yeah. But other than that, yeah, all is all, man. What's going on in your world?
It's cold. It's cold outside. That's all I know, and that's how I got to start with every thought. Do I need to go outside? Because it is really, really cold out here. It's like 0.
Oh man,
9 degrees or something this morning. So
yeah, I did see in the news that there's supposed to be a winter storm system kind of moving across the country. I don't know if it's hit y'all yet.
Not quite. If that means it's gonna get colder than it already is, then that's not gonna be worth anything at all for me.
You didn't hear from me, y'all. You didn't hear from me. But at any rate, man, check on your loved ones. Be safe out there.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, check on the old folks. Check on everybody. Make sure the heat's on. It's a cold one out there, man. But anyway, yeah, I'm trying not to even think of that. So thanks for asking.
Well, yeah, let's get into some other things to think about and talk about.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, because Rich says February spring starts tomorrow. Is that winter number 2? Is that
the February spring? Okay, all right.
Is that winter number 2?
Is it maybe it's gonna warm up a little bit? That's what I'm hoping.
Well, remember, y'all, one of the groundhogs died, so
Oh man.
Yeah. Keep that in mind.
Yeah,
But
dude.
anyway, man, yeah, let's get it. Let's get into the show. We got lots to talk about. Several guests to squeeze in between all of that. So yeah, let's get to the
Ooh.
things. Yeah, Rich, come on, man, stay out of the chat with all of that, please. I need to see some 6s and 7s.
Okay. In 40s. See, that's Omaha. That's Omaha right there. 40s and 50s. We wishing for the 40s and
Celebrating.
right. But that's still the California winter for me, baby. That's still cold.
Yeah, no. We want to see comments relevant to the stories, not that madness that Richard is spewing. So if you have anything that we want to see, yeah, go ahead, feel free. Let your mind be free. Let your voice be heard. Chime into the chat. Again, we do have several things to talk about. A couple stories we didn't get into on Wednesday that I definitely wanted to spend some time on today. Talking about the killing of Mr. Peter Spencer. Almost like a chapter out of Get Out, out of a
right. Families calling it a modern day lynching.
Man, if you're not familiar, a Jamaican immigrant was invited to a cabin hunting trip with some former co-workers and wound up shot several times.
This is why Get Out is such a genius movie. It is a horror. Because as soon as you read the first few sentences, it's like a horror story already.
Yep.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Going to a cabin in the woods with some
man. And not just that story, we also have updates in the Ahmaud Arbery story, as the family is apparently rejecting any plea cases or plea deals, and they're fighting for the full extent. They want them hate crimes to be convicted and to be pursued to the fullest extent of the law. So we'll definitely talk about where that situation stands. Also, on the flip side of that, was kind of, in my opinion, emboldening some of these incidents is the Trump effect, which continues. Actually, Attorney General Doug Peterson has endorsed Senator Mike Hilgers, who has connections and has expressed some loyalty to the Trump effect, and actually Trump himself is putting in some work on that front as well. So yeah, we'll talk about that at some point. And then of course there's some North Omaha things coming out. Of course we got to talk about the North Side. Some organizations are getting some more funding and actually speaking up about the funding that they've already received. So we'll definitely continue to talk about some of the finances that are rolling into the North Side, and some of the finances that could potentially be running into the North Side. Still that $450 million ask floating out there. So yeah, we got a lot to talk about. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Fresh Sky Omaha, Fresh Friday edition. Buddi3 Da Gawd, Paul B, Star Trek Rich, all of you. Let's go.
And good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. It is Friday, February the 4th, 2022. Thanks for joining us. If you're just joining us and you missed the announcement a little earlier, we're going to have some special guests in the house today. Rachel Jacobson is going to come and talk to us about the streetcar and the library projects of which she's associated. Friend of ours, so if you have questions, get those questions ready. She's definitely willing to answer some questions. And we also second guest a little later on the show, John Heaston from The Reader is going to be with us. So stay tuned for that. Really, really appreciate everybody that's here, and they got their questions ready for our guests so that we can kind of find out what's going on straight from the horse's mouth. That's what it's all about. We got a good morning from Mama God this morning. Good morning, fam. Hey. Appreciate you coming on back. Brother Muhammad says, top of the morning, assalamu alaikum. Just getting the body working.
Hey, body moving.
Gotta get that body moving. That's what's happening, man. Especially with it being so cold out here. Definitely.
Yeah.
Stacey Jean says, "Good morning for Sky Omaha family and friends. Happy Friday. Thank you very much." And Pop says that intro is as cold as Omaha winter.
Hey.
Okay, I appreciate that, Pops.
Yeah, I was
Nice
actually
association.
talking to somebody about the winters down here. It's like, yeah, it gets as cold or even colder than Antarctica and Alaska. They was like, what?
Yeah, man. That don't feel good.
Yeah. So be safe out there, y'all. Check on your loved ones. Check on your pets.
Yep.
This might not be a good time to keep the beasts of the field in the field. You might need to bring them on in. So
It'll be all right.
But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it, man. As I mentioned, I do like your idea, Paul, of having a lightning round. So let's save the lightning round for later for what we don't get into, if that's all right.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And let's save some time for what the people want to talk about, what the people feel is important. So with that, what do y'all want to talk about first? Do you want to talk about Trump, the Trump effect, and what's going on with that, or do you want to talk about again the Ahmaud Arbery and what was it, Peter? What's his name? Spencer Peter, or excuse me, Peter Spencer story.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down for some updates on that stuff because I've been hearing a few things about both of those cases, and I'm like, at least let's talk about the updates on those cases.
Okay. Oh well. I don't know. I don't want to wait too long, but anyway, second that, drop that in the chat. If if y'all take it too long, we'll just go ahead and make an executive decision.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know what's on your mind. And again, the stuff that we've pulled from Friends of First Sky Omaha. So we know that some of this is already on your mind. So just we're trying to figure out which ones we want to really kind of get into a discussion about. So let's do that for sure. Brother Muhammad says announcement when we have time.
Pop
says do both.
Hey, well, Pops has spoken. That's actually a good question, Christy Knorr, and that's something we're gonna have to get into because I don't have that information in front of me right now. But that is a good question. We'll get into that. Put a pin on that. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into this Peter Spencer story because there are updates with that story. So again, if you're not familiar, Peter Spencer, a Jamaican immigrant in, I believe, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area, the Great Lakes area, if you will, again, was invited to a camping trip / hunting trip with apparently a friend that he met at a previous job, a job that he's not at anymore, and an idyllic setting on the Allegheny River next to a bike trail is the hunting camp where police said Peter Spencer was ultimately shot to death. The camp is so remote that its address actually does not appear on maps. Talking about a horror film setting. County property records actually with the latitude and longitude coordinates show the location. So again, that's how remote it is. You need longitude and latitude coordinates to even get the location. Family member says Spencer, who is again a Jamaican immigrant, was invited to the camp by a friend whom he met at a previous job. According to Paul Jubis, attorney for the Spencer family, he was an outdoorsman and loved nature. He loved being in nature. He loved being among the animals of nature. This is something he would do regularly. It's exactly why he would have been out there. So again, his love for nature is what has what brought him to that point. But again, investigators are still trying to piece together what led to his death. Spencer's killing was apparently captured, has apparently captured international attention. Again, outrage from Black leaders in the Pittsburgh area are speaking out. Again, as Paul mentioned, the family of Spencer is calling this situation a modern day lynching because you guessed it, the co-worker that invited this gentleman to this trip was, of course, of European descent, as we would say. Apparently, there's a sign on the camp's front doors that says there is a camera available, referring to a surveillance camera in the second floor window where actually Spencer's body was found just in front of. But still, the lawyer is saying that it could potentially show everything, but it seems like there's still some lacks on the investigation, as the family is definitely calling for some changes and a little more aggression in the investigation. Actually, the lawyer is speaking up, saying on this just adds another layer of mystery onto why law enforcement is handling this investigation in such a quote unquote shadowy way. Apparently, Venango County DA Sean White would not say if there's any video of the shooting. He also said he will not release any details of the case until his office has a final autopsy. So the family is still waiting on questions. Lawyers saying there's a lot of shadowy investigation or investigating going on. So kind of par for the course with these types of cases.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. Yeah, there's a couple things we've kind of last season we covered a couple times when some things like this have happened.
Yep.
And those cases are open too. There was one really infamous photo of a black lady that was surrounded by a lot of white folks at a sleepover.
It happened here in Georgia.
That was in Georgia that happened. Yeah.
Yep. That was
we haven't gotten no answers there either. How she ended up dead. So. Yeah, this sounds like it's interesting where we're at these days. It sounds like a horror movie to for black folks to go somewhere with a group of white folks out in the woods, hunting trips,
sleepovers. And if I'm not mistaken, the people present at the events in both of these cases have admitted to being responsible in some way, shape, or form for the person's death.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's insane. So we keep an eye on that. The family's already spoken out. Same way that the Arbery case is going too. The family had to speak out to get some kind of traction there as well, because there was the two other men that were responsible for Aubrey's death. Same thing. They were they're trying to get them off, basically, give them a deal. It was a plea deal, I believe. Yeah. Family had to speak up on that. So it's like par for the course. It's like anything that's going on with us, it ain't enough for our lawyers to speak up. We got to go rally the whole family and get on press conferences and do a bunch of stuff just to get somebody to investigate stuff.
The whole campaign. And to that point, the Ahmaud Arbery case is still ongoing as the pursuit for hate crimes. It's like I'm not sure because they were convicted of something. I'm not sure exactly what they were convicted of, but it's the hate crimes that they're pursuing now, which is a federal crime rather than I think it was just the capital murder, which is I believe a state crime that they were convicted of. But this being reported by NPR, a federal judge rejected the plea deal earlier this week that would have averted a hate crime trial for one of the two men that were convicted of killing Ahmaud Arbery. And again, as Paul just mentioned, Arbery's parents, Wanda Cooper Jones and Marcus Arbery, both spoke at a hearing on Monday against the deal that would have allowed the two men to serve their time in a federal prison instead of a state one. Cooper Jones called the proposed deal disrespectful, saying Ahmaud didn't get the option of a plea. Man. She says, they killed my son because he's a black man. I'm asking on behalf of his family, on behalf of his memory, on behalf of fairness, that you do not grant this plea. The judge, again, gave Travis McMichael and his father, Gregory, 48 hours to decide whether to stick with their plea or to go to trial. And after rejecting Travis McMichael's plea, the judge proceeded with plans to gather potential jurors next week. Again, late Sunday, prosecutors announced they had reached a deal with the McMichaels, according to court documents. So trying to plead their way out of federal charges and hate crime charges, which I'm sure if there's any plan to appeal, if you're convicted of a hate crime, the road to appeal will be a lot harder.
Right. So, yeah, man. Again, my takeaway on this is that if you don't get your family and your friends rally behind you, if you're a person of color, then you need all the help you can get the kind of justice you need to get even looked into it.
Yeah,
correctly.
And even when it's looked into, you might not even get justice. When you think of the cases last year, several cases, people ended up like literally lynched, hanging from trees, and they try to say it was a suicide. Like, come on, man.
So true. Ariel's 402 in the chat says federal crimes get federal time, better prison. State crime is state prison, hard time. That's what they were saying about this. If they had a plea deal, then they would end up going to a federal, what they call club fed, real easy federal prison that's not really doing hard time, and that was kind of what they wanted to avoid as well. So family again they were actually considering this plea deal. Family had to speak up. Judge came in and did something about it. So yeah, we'll definitely have to keep up on some of those. Wanda Lewis in the chat also says, "Are there any updates on the 23-year-old female that died on a date with someone she met on Dateline? I don't know about that. We'll have to definitely look into that. Get some updates on that stuff too. You know, like I said, we kind of gotta." We have our own things that we're talking about here, especially locally. But there's some things that we really got to kind of keep our eye on, man, because just it can get swept under the rug so fast, and it just happens all the time. Tamika Johnson says, we'll finally get to hear the racial slurs that were said to Brother Arbery. That story that hit me pretty hard too. This is the brother that was pretty much hunted down by these men.
Yeah.
He was very disrespected in court with the prosecutors talking about his ashy ankles and everything else. What was he doing in the neighborhood with his ashy feet or whatever she said. Yeah, it's a hot mess, and I believe one person already got convicted of murder for that, and they're trying to get the other two. So, yeah, we'll have to hear it, and that's unfortunate. Jumping back into the chat real quick, Brenda Jackson in the house. Good morning, says Grand Rise. Appreciate you. We got Willie Hamilton in the house as well, giving us a good morning. Really appreciate that. Christy Knorr said, did they identify the man behind Benson High? I looked it up real quick. Officers said they found Thomas L. Dickerson of Omaha in the parking lot, dead in the parking lot near 52nd and Maple Streets. They also said no foul play is not suspected in the death of the 45-year-old Thomas L. Dickerson. So this I hate I'm cringing saying the name because Omaha's so small. Somebody got to know somebody related.
Yeah,
and I hope that I'm not the one breaking that news to them. But yeah, that was the name. That's who I identified there on that case. So if you know anybody who knows who that is, reach out. That's all I can say. Pop says people of color need to realize that going to isolated areas with a group of people you don't know can end up with you being the focus of mob mentality, where people do things they would not normally do on their own. Very true. We live in a crazy time because Black folks been knowing that kind of stuff all the time. We make it a joke now. I'm going to no woods. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't go to the woods. We've been talking about movies, horror movies and stuff like that from the 70s and stuff, where they go out to the cabin and all that. It's kind of a trope and a joke. But after Jordan Peele, Jordan, that's his name, right? Jordan Peele.
Yeah, Jordan Peele.
When he came out with Get Out, and the premise is for Black folks, just going to the white folks' house out in the country is a trope for a horror movie. It really opened it up for everybody to see, like, yeah, what Pops is talking about is very true. I've been in that situation myself. I was out in New Jersey hanging out with some folks, and they tried to get me to go out hunting the next day. I was like, I don't kill stuff. I don't shoot guns.
Yeah,
they didn't like that, and I ended up leaving early because they was all gonna go, and I was like, well, you can leave me out of that.
This also makes you think of. And shout out Brenda Jackson saying mother of Ernest Jackson. You guys continue to share the word. So we definitely got the mother of Ernest Jackson in the chat. Shout out to you. God bless as well. And that just makes me think of actually 12 years a slave, man. Yeah. Whether it's from the system, with the situation of Brother Ed Poindexter, Ernest Jackson, like really think for a Black person, like you can be taken by anybody. Whether it's the police, somebody who just feel entitled to take your life.
Hey, bro, there's parts of North Omaha I don't go. I was driving somewhere with somebody, and they were taking me on some of them back roads, but over there where them deers be coming out and stuff, and that's right next to the north side, bro. Like, yeah, any kind of street that you go on ain't got no street lights on it. Black people get to looking around like, I don't know if we supposed to be out here.
Man, I mean, I had friends of mine that told me they would go like hiking and go in Humboldt Park.
Get out.
Yeah, I'm cool. I'm cool. I'm cool. That's the interesting part. Like, even in the modern, like you got to stay in the modern areas. You start to kind of, travel out into the woods.
I mean, city, urban areas. I mean, there's
Yeah,
reason
yeah.
why we populate and gather there. There's reasons. There's reasons why white folks will sometimes move out to them kind of rural spaces like that too, and gun up, so they can,
This is
hot mess.
actually it's a perfect segue to the next topic.
Okay.
Talk about the Trump effect, because majority of the Trump supporters are located in these rural areas.
Wow.
There's a reason
All
why
around us.
there's a reason why you look at the election map, it's a sea of red with several blue dots.
Yeah. Very, very true. Very true. Ariel's 402 says, I live in Bellevue all my life. We wouldn't cross Harrison Street. Now my friend's family don't visit me as much. I don't blame him. Yeah, spots places all around us, man, for sure. Stacey Jean says, I don't even speak to my coworkers. I'm certainly not going to the woods or spending the night with virtual strangers.
Man.
Bro, we don't go to the woods and stuff with each other. We ain't going with the coworkers and stuff. That's just, I don't know. Brother Muhammad says, I try to travel on U.S. highways, interstate only. That's another thing.
Man.
I let Siri take me on the back roads up to Minneapolis one time. Never again. I'm gonna break out the old school map next time. I'm not letting it happen.
Hey, sundown towns are real, man. And
50 degrees. Legit. Yeah, it's 50 degrees through a town, and then it drops down to 25 real fast, and then they on you. Make sure that you get that ticket for speeding through their you know what I'm saying?
Like, oh yeah.
Nah, dude. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, and I used to be a person that drove all over the country. So yeah, it's
Green Book. like this is not things that we're making up. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole book that gave you instructions on where to go, where not to go, and how to get there.
Not new.
Not new at all. It's almost like the more things change, the more they stay the same. So it is about 7:30. I don't know if you want to take a break or just keep rolling.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. Let's take a quick break just to smell the coffee beans here. Wanda Lewis says, it's scary up in the Ozarks traveling through there.
Man,
they made a whole show about it.
I was about to say, there's a show called Ozarks. Man,
it's scary for white folks in the Ozarks. I
don't
know. Yeah, let's take a quick break and come back and jump back into some more stories. Thanks for bearing with us through these. We're just trying to get through some of these things that's been hanging around all week, really, for the last 2 weeks, really. Some updates on some things. We'll jump back into some stories and some of the things that you've been talking about at Friends at First Sky Omaha. Stay tuned. Rachel Jacobson coming up in just about 15 minutes. And then John Heaston a little later on in the show. We got special guests coming. If you're just joining us, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. We're tubing, tweeting, and twitching these days now. Yeah, man, come on over to YouTube. If you happen to catch us on YouTube, please subscribe. We got to play the YouTube game now. You need a certain amount of subscribers and all that.
Tickle that bell too.
Oh yeah. Hit the bell. I never hit the bell on nothing before. I finally hit it on something. It don't do nothing. It shows up up in the corner. You got a little thing that says there's a new video out, and I thought it was gonna be just ringing off the hook. I didn't know what the bell did.
Well, if it did, I don't think you'd appreciate that. It might be annoying. It might be annoying. But I do appreciate the chat chimers, man. Big shout out to y'all dropping stories of your travels into the chat, man. Josh Tagg says, Yep, Arkansas, Southern Missouri fly the Confederate flag more than the Stars and Stripes. Shaking my head. Yeah, man. I actually, I remember driving back up to Nebraska from Florida, and I went through Mississippi, and like I've seen the man. First of all, just driving through Mississippi, you can feel, you can hear the N word just whispered in the wind. You can just hear it. You can hear it. Man, I saw the biggest Confederate flag I ever seen. Man, man.
Oh
See the
man, that's
biggest
crazy.
Confederate flag you've ever seen flying in the mountains of
Hey,
Mississippi,
this is the
and
country we live in, man. That's what it is, bro. That's what it is.
man, Ariel's 402 says, I was traveling through the Mark Twain Forest in Missouri. I told myself if I break down and a car comes, I'm hiding in the woods. Man.
And you make sure your car is on point driving through any of them joints. Tamika Johnson says, my family loves the outdoors. We just got smart, sober, and strapped. There
All
you
right.
go.
There you go. Be
Don't
safe
be
out
out.
there.
Don't be out in the woods wilding out. We got Black Twitter. We need some Black Woods.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Getting you some, getting you some fresh air and enjoying God's nature. But there's power in numbers. That's all. That's all. But moving along, because we do got other stuff to get into. I did want to pivot into this Trump effect situation, and there is a connection between the two because we're talking about Get Out, and we're kind of laughing. But on a serious note, there are some people out there who have been emboldened by what they're seeing from Trump. They have, and it's kind of a beast feeding itself. You know what I'm saying? Because Trump even getting in the president's office in the first place is a reflection of some of the sentiments that are brewing across the country, and now it's kind of a snake eating its own tail as the Trump effect continues, and we're seeing this with moves all throughout the country, even in our own backyard in Nebraska. Attorney General Doug Peterson last week announced his support for Senator Mike Hilger's candidacy to succeed him as the state's attorney general. Hilgers is a Lincoln senator, a speaker of the legislature, and is seeking the Republican nomination for attorney general. Of course, Peterson's endorsement follows sort of along the Trump loyalist tract. Of course, getting endorsements from Pistol Pete Ricketts, Lieutenant Governor Mike Foley, Senator Deb Fisher, of course, Don Bacon, Adrian Smith, and former governors Dave Heineman and Kay Orr. Hilgers was reelected to a four-year term, in Lancaster County's District 21 back in 2020. If elected Attorney General, his successor in the legislature presumably would be chosen by Ricketts before he leaves office next January. So we see a bunch of state moves that are kind of being controlled by Republicans.
Tanaya Patterson in the chat says, AKA White Lash in perpetual effect.
Yeah, man.
The reason why I thought this is important, this is why this is important. It's because of the seat. The Attorney General, there's the trend going on with Republicans right now around the country who are saying that Trump won the election, that the election was stolen, and that we need to have some reform when it comes to the voting situation. So what their strategy is to get these Republicans in these seats for Attorney General, this particular seat that controls how the states are going to be dealing with elections, so that they can go into the back end and control that.
Mm-hmm.
So in this state, in Nebraska, that seat is up, and as you can see, all that whole list of Republicans you just laid out are endorsing this cat to come on in and take that seat. There are no Democrats running for that seat. This is one of those ones where if we got at First Sky Omaha and friends of First Sky Omaha power to come up with something, we need to put somebody in that seat. We need to get can a Democrat step up? Can somebody challenge this seat? Because if you don't, then this cat's gonna get in there, and then it's gonna be even harder to vote after that person is attorney general.
Man, or a Republican who's willing to take the party back from Trump. As Brennan Jackson just said, the go alone to get along gang. I mean, that's really the long and short of it. A lot of people in the Republican Party are being held hostage by Trump. and they're just going along. If you haven't heard about this latest rally that Trump had, again, he's coming through like Oprah. If I get elected, you get a pardon, and you get a pardon, and you get a pardon. Everybody gets a pardon.
Straight up. Ariel's 402 says, I thought Carol Blood was running. She's running for governor.
For governor.
Governor.
Attorney General.
Attorney General. Christy Knorr says, do you have to be an attorney? I'm not sure about that.
It's a good question.
This struck me when I just heard, when I was doing some research and found out that this was a Republican strategy to get into that attorney general position. That spurred me to go look and see what that position is about. And when I got to, I see they're kind of controlling how the states run elections, then it became a little bit clear, but I didn't get into exactly what qualifications you need to have to be it or what. I was wanting to just bring it to the chat here, and let's talk about it and figure out what it is, who is qualified, who we can get in there, and maybe even reach out to the Democratic Party. How come there's no Democrats running for this seat? What's up with that? There's none. What's up with that? So, like Brenda Jackson says, yes, it do. Nebraska must do better.
Man,
that's what I'm talking about.
I mean, Michelle has laid it out quite well on a few of her soapbox moments. I've even mentioned it, but the future, man, is right now. What the next couple years is looking like, and this isn't really any real doom and gloom. This is a real ringing of the alarm of the fire that is real. that is real. This out of the latest Washington Post article, talking about not just this move in Nebraska, but all across the country. Right now, Trump and his supporters are pushing an ambitious plan to place Trump loyalists in key positions across the administration of U.S. elections, citing the need to make elections more secure. Trump allies are also seeking not just attorney general positions, but the whole election gambit. I'm talking about volunteer poll watchers, paid precinct judges, elected county clerks, state attorneys generals, according to state and local officials, as well as rally speeches, social media posts, and campaign appearances by those seeking the position. So again, it's a whole full out campaign that's going on, and the Trump loyalists are now coming out of the woodwork, man.
Wow. Chrissy Knorr says that the Dem party has been reaching out to get folks to run, but it takes money to run. Very, very true. I mean, there's no getting around it. You got to have money to run. But there are funds. I've known some people in the Democratic Party that have received funds in order to push candidates. I mean, there's some there. But the point is that there's nobody that's even challenging this at all. That's kind of my point. We got in the chat Leah Margolis, which is a name I haven't seen before.
Hey,
Thank you for joining us here on YouTube. I think the Republicans want to be held hostage by Trump because he does what he wants, aka taking our voting rights, anti-science, anti-choice, etc. Republicans want to be held hostage by Trump. That's interesting. Yeah, appreciate the comment there. Yeah, this just like Buddy brings out all the time, the Trump effect. It's something that you talk about on the regular. That's what they might be what they want. Brother Muhammad says, if we are to live in the lane, we must start our efforts to change the language. I like that.
I'm kind of curious. Real quick, I'm kind of curious to see, like, where do you think we should and could be changing our language? Because I definitely agree. If you change the language, you kind of change how people think, and then change how they move.
Yeah, for sure. Brenda Jackson says the dictator is what Trump wants to be. If they vote him back, they will have another January 6th. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He will pardon everybody, and he wants to pardon everybody, and then have another January 6th probably. Josh Tate says, unfortunately, all the Dem funds have strings tied to them. Better than the reps winning, I guess. I mean, well, let's. I mean, to me, that's just like what can be done. That's kind of what the question is here. So, Brother Muhammad says education, most deaf. Miss Erica Fell says held hostage, meaning they can blame him and deny responsibility for acts they truly want. Yeah,
okay. Plausible deniability.
Yeah, very true, very true. the Trump effect is one of those evergreen things that we're just going to keep on talking about and following. We have to, because we live in a state that is like you said, a sea of red or a few blue dots in it, and it's all around us. So just that alone, just trying to keep an eye on that. Who's running for attorney general? Why is there so much endorsement for this one Republican candidate and there's no Democrats running for this seat? And let's next time we talk about this, maybe we can talk about what that seat is and what the qualifications are for that seat. But I'm already feeling like this is one of those things like we had to do back in season 2, Ballad of the Bullet style, and say how can we who should we tap to get into those seats? How can we help push that agenda? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
You know, like,
I mean, I'll just say this, man. The things that we've been seeing over the last 4 years or so from quote unquote leadership uh, tells us that, those in leadership positions don't really care about the people. Don't really care about the people. And if we don't get up and do the work and fulfill our civic duties, then we're going to get the short end of the stick. And nothing is more evident, not just what we've seen with Trump, but what we've seen with the development in Omaha. Again, if you don't get up and vote, if you don't really get out there and put in the work, you're not going to be heard.
And now it's not just voting; it's defending the ability to vote,
man.
Which is what this whole piece is about here. It's 7:45 right now. Actually, 7:46. We're running a little late, and we have a special guest waiting in the wings, so we're going to jump there. Real quick, Judy Prinzler says Trump loyalists don't want to think or learn; they just want to follow. Could be the case, but we do have money. That's right. We do have a special guest on. We're going to bring her on right now. We got Rachel Jacobson in the house.
Hi.
Hello, my friend. How are you?
Hi, Paul. I'm good. How are you guys this morning?
Not bad. Not bad. Thanks for getting up so early with us.
Oh, yeah. I really appreciate you guys having me on. I just think that what you're doing is so important, and it just makes me love Omaha more, this level of community engagement and this kind of forum, and like how many people are engaging here, and I just love how you do it and what you're doing. So thank you for all of this.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cool. So thank you so much.
Right on. Well, for those of you that don't know, this is my friend Rachel Jacobson. I'm going to let you introduce yourself, where you're from, who you're representing, and I know that we're gonna jump into this thing fast because we got a lot of people that's got questions here. So.
I'm sure. Okay, so I'm Rachel Jacobson. I am the president of Heritage Services, Heritage Omaha. We're kind of trying to be a little bit more specific about who we are and what we do. We're a nonprofit that does big. Yeah, thank you, Richard. He threw the URL in the chat, so I appreciate that. We do big development projects, like big civic projects. And when I say we do them, we do the capital campaigns and we facilitate the building projects. And so I'm from Omaha, and I've spent most of my adult life with film streams. I founded Film Streams when I was 26, a good 17 years ago. I'm going to date myself. So I had a really wonderful experience being able to do 2 capital campaigns and building projects and build this kind of community organization, do a lot of what you guys are doing here at First Sky, where we had a lot of community forums with community leaders. And just about a year and a half ago, in the middle of the pandemic, I transitioned to this new position and got to jump in and hit the ground running with a project that had been teed up. Those of you who haven't heard about it, it's called Kiwi Luminarium. So you can visit kiwiluminarium.org. It's a new science center that's going to be on the riverfront, and it's going to be so cool. It's really, really exciting. We're partnering with Exploratorium, which is this incredible science museum in San Francisco, and we got to hire the CEO from Exploratorium, and she is the coolest person. Her name's Silva Raker, and so she moved here from San Francisco to run Kiwi Luminarium. We're going to open in April of 2023 on the riverfront, and it's all about joyful engagement with STEM learning. It's all about, not just kids, but all ages. Like 60% of Exploratorium visitors are adults. So it's just going to be such a cool place. It's going to be really, really exciting. So that's been a really fun project. And then Heritage had also been really interested in library services for a long time, and so I know that that's what you all are interested in talking about. And so I think it all started from like piecing things together and just kind of coming into this job, like figuring stuff out with the history. But I think it basically started with Gary Waston, who was the former director of the library, kind of coming to Sue Morris, who was my predecessor, who was here for 25 years, and saying, look, libraries, the way that we get information has changed so significantly, and libraries need serious investment in order to get to the next level to really serve our communities in the way that they need to. So all about digital equity, all about access to computers and tech services and tech learning and all of that, along with, like the whole history of libraries, physical books and everything, of public spaces that are free and that are welcoming and comfortable for all community members. So what they ended up doing was establishing Do Space, because they kind of ran into so many issues trying to figure out how to do it within the library system or in partnership with the library system, that they just decided to establish this independent nonprofit. And those of you, a lot of you probably know, it's 72nd and Dodge. It's a renovated Borders. It's probably one of the best uses for one of those borders in the country. When you think about it, most of those have probably been torn down or they're just abandoned. But it is a digital library. It's a really tech-focused library. And Rebecca Stavik was the founding executive director. She's still running it. And it, there's 3D printing lab. There is super high-speed broadband internet. It's free for all the programs are free. And there's like tons of programs going on all the time. There's like the Littles Lab where, kids get to build robots and stuff like that. There's, programs for seniors, all of our moms, with figuring out their iPhones and things like that. You can go to Do Space and get help doing that kind of thing. And then they do stuff like, Rebecca did a great job during the pandemic, really like flexing into what was needed. So she did like Zoom interview courses and things like that. So it's really awesome. It's all about digital equity. It's all about access. And it's been hugely successful. Like we've had, a ton of visitors, and it's been really great. So, so the intent of Do Space was always really to scale up eventually and to see those kinds of services at libraries throughout the city, along with everything that libraries have always done. So, that exploration has been really complicated, has been many years. And the exciting thing is that now we're in a position where we are partnering with OPL, with the Omaha Public Library Foundation, with the City of Omaha, and with Do Space to explore the possibility of creating a brand new central library at 72nd and Dodge, where Do Space is. Okay, so Josh is asking about W. Dale Clark.
Yeah, we'll get into the comments, but I want you to be able to explain. Yeah, just kind of give us the overall story. Yep.
Cool. Yeah. So the thing with W. Dale Clark, Heritage is really lucky because we are focusing on kind of this future central library. How can the library emerge, from all of this in a way that is, how can we create one of the best library systems in the country? How can we make sure that our libraries are serving everyone, and that they are really dynamic places? I mean, this project has been so incredible, like researching what's going on all over the world with libraries, because those that have figured out how to innovate and how to use their space well, like libraries are like the last non-commercial public spaces, right? And they should be welcoming to everyone. They should be as accessible as possible. The kinds of programming and the kinds of services that are provided, yes, definitely story times. Yes, definitely, the reading clubs, the summer reading clubs. Those of you who grew up in Omaha, like you might have gotten the personal pan pizza when you were a kid, from
we
Pizza
had that in California. We had that in
you read
California
10
too.
books. Yeah, you got that.
Yeah, man. The postcards.
like that, all of that is so special, like our connection to physical books. But like libraries can be play spaces. They can partner with community organizations that are doing social work, like like the International Senior Center. I mean, the way that serves people is how libraries can be serving the community as these civic centers where everyone can go, where there's access to all kinds of information, all kinds of learning, and in the safest places. And there's just not that many public spaces, I feel like, in Omaha where you just can go, that third place thing where you can just run into people and you can just kind of see everybody. I mean, that's something that we really tried to do at the Dundee Theater, with Lola's, and that partnership is really like kind of make this place where you don't want to go home, but you don't want to go to work. And so
Right.
like that kind of thing, like where are you going to go? And you're going to run into people, you're going to see all sorts of different community members. And libraries can do that on a different level because Lola's, I mean, you pay to be, you buy food or you buy a movie ticket or whatever. But libraries, it's like you don't even need any reason to be there.
Very true. So let me jump in here with you real quick, because you're preaching to the choir. We all feel the same way about these spaces and about the library. And a lot of us were using, Del Clark Library for those purposes already. They did a good job. I remember going to some art shows there. They were throwing. Lit Fest was up on the third floor at one point, and I remember going there for that. So I remember going there a lot of times for more than just the books. So what I want to make clear right now, because this group has been very fiery about the Dale Clark Library in particular being shut down and replaced. And we had Joaquin Fox on at one point that kind of broke down some things. So he had apparently he had talked to you before and got some kind of insight. In the very beginning, we were all scared that the library system was going privatized, and it was connected and starting with the Dale Clark downtown library. Then we figured out later on there were kind of two different things happening here. There was the renovation of the library, but there was also the acquisition of that particular property at Dale Clark. And so basically I wanted to have you on because I wanted people to be able to ask questions about what was coming. And just to be clear, your organization didn't have anything to do with the sale you guys are basically like, that thing happened on that level. And now we're lucky enough to be able to, if they're going to build a new one, then we're going to be the ones that can bring it in here and build it. So I just want to make that clear to our listeners before questions start coming in about like, why did you guys blow up the Dale Clark? Like it's not your company that's doing it. Your company is the one that got the contract to build the new ones. And so I just want to make sure that everybody who's asking questions, make sure that you keep that in mind, first of all.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah. Making that distinction is kind of weird, but the mayor's been talking about wanting to develop that property for a long time. And obviously it's become clear why it's moving so quickly and everything else. But I'm kind of watching that along with all of you. I kind of know what's in the paper and everything else. So,
right.
The streetcar, you can have my husband on to talk about that sometime.
Okay.
He's involved with that stuff.
Okay. Sounds good.
He's a transportation planner, but
and that's another situation where that happened above, that happened on a higher level in the government. They decided they wanted this thing, and then you guys will probably get the contract to put it actually together. Is that?
Oh no, we won't do the streetcar. No, we're we're like kind of a tiny shop. Like we're only like a 4 or 5 person staff. And so, so we really just do like one project every year and a half or so. So like Kiwi Luminarium is now that it has a CEO and it's going and it's getting ready to open. We're ready to ramp up the next thing, and we're hoping it'll be the central library. And, so it's pretty exciting. Like, I know I also want to say, like, just making the case for 72nd and Dodge for a second, because I hear all this conversation about, really, like, the central library needs to be downtown. Like, that should be the main branch. And, I would have felt the same way before I got involved with this project, to be totally honest, because like that downtown branch thing feels really important. But just like having engaged with this and understanding what the library needs are, I see why from a distribution point of view, because part of what we want to do here is figure out like more of a centralized distribution model so that we can get books all over the city a lot faster. And so it makes a lot more sense. And the other benefit of that is that all of the branches can use their space more in a better way. Like right now, like there's way too much space at every branch. Like, yes, there needs to be books on every floor, but the branches should be community spaces. And as much as possible, you should have space for programming and for computers and for nonprofits to partner and for podcast studios or like, whatever it is for like the community vibrancy. And so those neighborhood libraries should really have access to all those kinds of things. And so one way that you can do that is just condense the books more, so that or a good percentage of the books more, so that the distribution's faster. You can get any book you want, but the ones that aren't circulating as frequently could live at that central branch, and then all of the branches throughout the city can be reimagined in the same way that we're talking about with the central branch, so that they're more vibrant 21st century type libraries.
Okay.
So
I just wanted to add one, I'm a member or I guess a member of Do Space, so I definitely would like to see the marriage between the two, and kind of curious to see how that plays out. But I do want to make a clarification, because there was some confusion between Paul and I, even with so Heritage has no connection whatsoever with the 14th and Jones location, the new down.
No,
So
we
you're
weren't
only doing
involved
the
in
72nd and
selecting
Dodge.
that. Yeah, we're only doing 72nd and Dodge. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But the thing about 14th and Jones, and the thing that's interesting, so we're in this exploration phase right now. Our announcement last week basically said we're partnering to do this schematic design and engagement phase, and that's what the next few months are going to be. So we're exploring this possibility. This isn't a done deal. Like, we want to hear from community members, and I'm excited to hear from you guys and from your audience, like about what you want to see at your libraries and what your thoughts are. But we're deep in the library right now. The architects are talking with all of the different staff and all the different departments to really figure out what the best design is. And so we got the seed funding to do that. And so from now through the end of April, we're going to be working on building out that library with all these different ideas, for how it can best serve the community and serve the needs of the public. So if we're able to come to something that is really incredible and like coalesce around a shared vision for something really wonderful, that's when this project launches. So this is not a done deal. We are in this engagement phase. We have a website that hopefully someone can throw up the URL. It's just omahacentrallibrary.org. There's just like a 2-question survey up there right now. There's going to be a much more robust survey later. We've hired this library consultant who's really incredible. Her name's Margaret Sullivan. And so she's going to be doing, the public engagement side of things. So
Okay.
So all that's going to be happening. But the cool thing about, the cool thing about the potential for downtown is that, there is that 5-year renewal thing, right? So if it ends up that that's not the right, place for it, there is the potential. What we'd like to do is an updated master plan, or we'd like to fund an updated master plan for OPL to lead, to look at every neighborhood branch and think about how this central branch can impact the whole system. And so as part of that, the conversations about where, whether that is the right place for the downtown branch can happen. So
Yeah.
all of that could come in the future.
Okay, just jumping in here real quick. It's 8:05 right now. If you're just joining us, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. We have special guest Rachel Jacobson on, and she's part of the group that is going to be putting together some of the library new additions that are going to be happening, especially at 72nd and Dodge area, teaming up with the Do Space. And I want to jump into the chat just a little bit. With that particular project that you're talking about right now, Margie Sturgeon has a good point. She says, speaking of community spaces, KPAO, Omaha's public access channel, needs to be a part of this. So that might be something that can be added into this amalgamation of the library do space, situation there. So might be something to look into. Also, there was a question that I got earlier, before, when they just knew that you were coming. They wanted to ask if if you guys would listen to the public, and if you want a new central library built downtown on the lot the city owns to the east of Dale Clark, so we the public can still have a magnificent library with a view overlooking the Jean Leahy Mall. You guys, you don't have any say. Your company doesn't have any say on where those libraries are going to go. Is that correct?
Yeah, we definitely don't. But there could be, again, like if we launch this project, we would also fund updated master plan. And so that could be a conversation. I think that, that block on the west side of the park is pretty exciting.
Yeah. So basically, really, what I think, just kind of thinking about all the conversations we've had here on the show in the past month on this subject. What I'm trying to think of what it is that you can actually answer for us, and I think that is something you just talked about, which was the engagement part. So it sounds like to me you guys already have things in place to talk to the public. We can help here at First Sky Omaha by making sure that we let everybody know where they can go to be able to talk about these things, because nothing is being built yet, nothing's underway. And we have an opportunity to add some ideas in it, like KPOW and some other ideas to what it is that you guys are going to end up building. But where you guys build is not your decision. It's all about really the team up with Omaha Public Library, where they decide things are going to go and what's going to happen there. And the last kind of thing I'm really wondering about too is so they've been struggling for money all this time to upgrade their libraries. Is there some privatization going on here? Is that what's happening here as far as these upgrades are concerned? All the branches, and you're shaking your head. No, good. That's good.
No, absolutely not. So we're we're a 501c3. We're a nonprofit organization, and Do Space is also a 501c3 that is kind of a related organization to Heritage. So, but anyway, that doesn't matter. The city is going to continue to control the library system. OPL will continue to control the libraries. It'll be public. The thing that we're doing right now, we want to raise the money privately for this building. We want to raise that through foundations and individuals who care about, the future of the community. And we would sort of co-create this building and do that whole process. And then once it's complete, we would donate the building to the city. So, or to OPL, and then they would run it. we will want to make sure that OPL also has the funds, for the long term to be able to run this system in a way that's good, because programming matters the most, and we're not going to be involved with the programming side of it. So we want to make sure that they have the funding for that. So we'll be advocating for that, with City Council, with the OPL board, to make sure that the ongoing funding is there for the programming. So you'll be seeing that, like, once we get through this schematic design phase, we'll be going to City Council, we'll be going to the OPL board to make sure that they're committed to funding it for the long term, and that, and we've been already partnering with OPL, like Rebecca from Do Space and Laura Marlane, who's the head of the library. They're part of the kind of core team that's determining the vision for this place. And so in doing that together, we're hoping we can figure out also like a programmatic vision for OPL for the long term, but they're running it. We're just trying to support them to be able to get to this next level.
Got it. So we have a saying here that we stick to a lot, which is follow the money. We want to know who's spending the money on what and why, and who has control of it. Because if you follow the money, then you know like what the intentions are, and you also know what's going to end up what's going to end up happening with the thing. So just to clarify one more time, what I'm hearing is that you guys are going to be raising money from the foundations to help get this thing built and started, and then the whole thing will be donated back to Omaha Public Library or the city, and it'll be back in their hands. So there's a question in the chat where let's see, let me go back and grab that real quick. It was kind of related to this. Vaughn Chapman in the chat says, why aren't these projects put on the ballot as a ballot initiative, so the people affected would have to say in where, why, and how their tax monies are spent before decisions are made? I don't know if you can answer that. I mean, but what's your thoughts on it?
This project isn't coming from tax money. This project's coming from philanthropy. So, but the ongoing funding would be from tax money from the city. So that's why, there definitely should be, a public voice involved here. But
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, yeah, and speaking of that public voice, one thing I am hearing is beyond raising the funds to build the building, you did mention that there's some kind of strategic plan or long-term programmatic plan component of this as well. And I think that sounds like the opportunity that the people have to impact their library and how these services impact the community. So I kind of wanted to speak to that more. Where does that process come? As Paul mentioned, how can people get more involved in that process? It seems like that's where we have the most control.
Yeah, totally. So there's, this is only a 4-month period. So we're going to be, like I said, there's going to be surveys, we're still working on the engagement plan with our partners. We actually have a meeting next week that Margaret's going to facilitate that has representatives from all the different partnering organizations. And I mean, one thing we definitely want to do is get together a group of community leaders that represent diverse neighborhoods, marginalized voices, like different groups throughout the city, arts and culture, just different constituencies to kind of have a voice at the table. And then yeah, like you were saying, this updated master planning process is that is where, to Omar Valentine's point, that's where we're going to be going to the churches and going to the neighborhoods and things like that, because that's where it's kind of all about the vision for what your neighborhood library, can be, and not to how can you use the space differently? If you had 50% less shelves of books, like what would you want that to be? And what you've seen what I've seen all over the world, and even in Nebraska, like Norfolk, Nebraska has a sewing room at their main library, for example. So if there was, a neighborhood that really needed a sewing room, if there's a lot of kids from North High who are walking down to Washington who want to learn how to code, and then you have, space to do that. Or if there's, whatever it is, whatever the community needs are, if there's refugee community that has particular needs, in a neighborhood. You can imagine that. So I think the more I think the central library is going to enable the neighborhoods to do more with their space, so that's part of what we're trying to do.
We're going to keep an eye on that. We got about a minute left, so we're going to keep an eye on that and make sure that we keep an eye on your guys' efforts for outreach and help be a part of that if we can. Yes. Just let us know. We can definitely team up, partner with you on trying to get the word out on that, so we can make sure everybody get to say. One last question here before we let you go. Margie Sturgeon is asking about the timeline on this. So you mentioned this is all going down in 4 months. Can you let us know about when we can expect to be sitting at the table for the conversation with you?
Yeah. So like I said, we've kind of we're sketching out our engagement plan for the next few months. And if we're able to really get something together that everyone loves and that seems like a great project, then we should be able to launch the actual capital campaign and building project and everything else by the spring. And then with the updated facilities master plan that I'm talking about, that's going to be for OPL to lead, really. But Margaret Sullivan's, that's what she does. She does the deep community engagement stuff, and so we'll be introducing her to people like you guys who can really get the word out in various communities and throughout the city. So that would probably start right around the time that we would present the design for this new main branch. But there's, like I said, there's already a survey up on our website. There's going to be more surveys. There's going to be, I'm not sure exactly what the plan's going to be over the next few months, whether we'll have an opportunity for public meetings but there'll definitely be the library board meetings and city council and all of that.
Very sweet. Thank you very much. We really, really appreciate you coming on to answer those questions, clarify some things. We're definitely going to need to talk to some other people, maybe even somebody from OPL that can come and explain some of the other questions that we have. But now we know what Heritage is doing and how much you guys are involved and everything else. Before you get out of here, though, I know I'd like to take a little extra minute just to go. Let's come down from that discussion for a minute, because you're a friend of mine, and I just want to hear what you're obviously excited about the Science Center and things like that. What else are you excited about right now? Like, what's making you happy that you're doing what you're doing?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think it's definitely like you're saying, Paul, it's like, the Science Center, this community building. I mean, that's where I get my energy, and it's been so much fun, working on that one, because Silva is so passionate about how this can be a new model for science centers, like globally, that it can really be co-created by the community. And we've got this amazing advisory group that's got lots of friends. It's got like Jeanette Taylor and Sydney Franklin and Taylor Keene and, Albert Vares and, really, really great community
I call them the La Bouvette crew.
Yeah, the La Bouvette crew. Emily, yeah, definitely. So that's like a really great, that project is my heart. This one's been challenging because there's been so many different things going on, but I also am very excited about how that can manifest similarly, because it absolutely needs to. The library has to be, this is a public entity, and it needs to be co-created with as many people, as many leaders and diverse leaders in the community as possible to make it great. So I'm excited about the potential.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm excited about things you're excited about, because you do some cool stuff, all the way from film streams to the Science Center. So
Go ahead. Sorry, Paul. I just want to say I'm also like super stoked about like the work that Bretton Gomez is doing. And
oh yeah.
Like there's a bunch of people that like have really cool vision that are doing, this kind of grassroots work, these smaller shops and smaller entrepreneurs, and like what you guys are doing at Benson Theater and stuff like that. So I just want to talk about my own stuff. Like all this grassroots work is what is going to make this community great for the future. So
I appreciate that. Yeah,
Just,
Bretton Gomez, his government name, Connie Franco.
Oh yeah. That's all right. Definitely shout out to Connie Franco as we call him around here, and shout out to you as well and all the people doing the work. Now we just need to get some elected officials in to support the work that's been done on the grassroots, and we'll actually get somewhere in light speed. But we definitely appreciate you and all the work, and definitely excited. There's actually a Luminarium here in Atlanta, so it's nice to see one coming to Omaha. Yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to taking my children to. So it's nice to see Omaha get one as well.
Very cool.
So cool. Thanks for having me, guys. Great to see you both. Take care.
Thank you. Yeah,
likewise,
you too.
Likewise. Have a good one.
La Bouvette soon, sis.
Yes, please. I would love that.
La Bouve is still the move.
La Bouve is still the move. All right, you have a good one, Rachel. See you later.
Thanks. How do I?
All right. Oops, I think I cut her off. Sorry about that. Thank you everybody who chimed in the chat there, asked your questions, and thank you for Richard and everybody that has put in the links to this stuff, so we can go to those links and do that little 2-question survey that they have there, and then we'll just keep our eye on stuff so we can get in there and be in the conversation about some of this stuff. It kind of eased my mind a little bit now, just knowing that there's some that the even though they're going to raise these funds through philanthropy, it's still going to be public spaces. The next question I'll have for them when we go and talk about some stuff is this: when they're talking about these reductions on the shelves, how they going? They say they're talking about consolidating the books some kind of way.
Condensing the books out.
I don't like when you start taking books out. I don't know what that exactly means. I mean, I'm sure that doesn't mean they're going to be throwing a bunch away, but we'll see as we go. We can kind of really talk and figure out things as we go. Rachel's a very open person when it comes to all that stuff, and a pretty cool ally. So she'll make sure that we stay on track. So. Really appreciate her coming on. Thank you guys, the chat chimers, for being nice and but also asking your questions. That's dope. Miss Erica Felt says, great person who has contributed a lot to Omaha. Thank you for introducing her to many of us. Yeah, she's a cool person. Like I said, from film streams to this Luminarium, she's involved in some cool projects and has been for years, and is a cool individual. So that's what's happening.
I'm also excited kind of about what she was saying, because I know Film Streams is a pretty good forum for conversation.
Absolutely.
And I never really thought about a library as a location to have that kind of public engagement and conversation.
Hey man, you can hop over to Council Bluffs library, and their library is so laid out, it's ridiculous. I went over there to do an interview, and I was able to check out video equipment to do the interview in one of the rooms there with them, like in one of the rooms that you can kind of close off and be in. So the potential for what you can do at the library, and that is free to the public. And if you make a decision that you don't just check out books, you can check out cameras, then use your library card to check out a camera and get your art done. You know what I'm saying? Like the potential is outrageous, especially if they're going to add some do space type of stuff in there too.
Right. You can get a lot done. You can do a lot at Do Space. So
you can do a lot. You can do a lot.
But we'll definitely keep you up to date with the conversations, and when those strategic plans get underway, we definitely like to have a voice in that.
Most def. Margie, very good suggestion about K-Pow, about doing some live video stuff out of the library. That'd be dope. Let's take a quick break and come back and jump into some stuff. We're moving right along with this show because we still have a special guest coming, John Heaston from The Reader in El Perico. He's going to come through a little later on the show and talk to us about that. So get your questions ready for him as well. And in between all that, we definitely have some stories that we want to jump into that you laid out to us at Friends of First Sky Omaha. Things you want to talk about. So we're going to definitely jump into that. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B. Buddi3 Da Gawd. Star Trek Rich. 8:24 right now. If you're keeping track of time and believe in the concept, stay tuned. We'll be right back. You're still in space. It's the place for Sky Omaha, baby. You got a picture of Snoop Dogg and Steve Urkel.
What?
Urkel's he's pushing that purple Urkel.
Oh wow.
What's Urkel's real name? I can't remember.
Jaleel White.
Jaleel White. Yeah. I've been really impressed with the interviews I've been seeing with him this past couple of years. He's like real dude.
Yeah, man. He was on Vice. Has a show with Action
really?
Bronson.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Vice has a show with Action Bronson called Ancient Aliens. He was on there.
Is that right? Did not know that. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. The YouTube channel. Yeah, that YouTube channel, man. This is why we need you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. First of all, it might be easy to go look at First Sky Omaha on YouTube. Just type in First Sky Omaha. You'll probably end up finding us better than this ugly link we got going on here right now. But if we get a certain amount of followers, subscribers, then we can change that link to just say youtube.com/First Sky Omaha. That's one of the. See, you got to play the game with them. It's just I don't get why you got to do all this, but whatever. Yeah. If you find us on YouTube, please subscribe so we can get those numbers up on there and do that.
And tell a friend to tell a friend.
And tell a friend to tell a friend.
Yeah, man.
Zane says hi. How you doing, my man?
What's going on,
buddy? Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Augie Kid says Steve Urkel, aka the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay.
Yeah, man.
He's doing some work. That's what's up. Rachel Jacobson came back and got into the chat. Appreciate you.
Hey,
Appreciate you very much.
Just jump right on in.
Talking to Margie. That's what's happening. I love it. I love it. And thank you for everybody that's coming in. Brenda Jackson is lighting up the chat too. Thank you so much for that. She says opportunity at the library. Reading is fundamental. I remember that commercial back in the day, back in the California days. Reading is fundamental. Some of my best memories, man, have to do with like going to the library, joining that club where you got to read a certain amount of books and get your pen, get your pizza, and get your ribbon.
Yeah, bro, some real memories with that one. Forgot all about that, man. The book fairs coming to the schools.
That's what's up. As a matter of fact, Pop says in the chat, he says they have a library in Vegas that has a stage and allows for musical performances.
What? What? That sounds like Vegas. That sounds like Vegas. They're going to find a way to do a show in the library.
Yeah,
what happened to shh?
Ain't no reading in the library no more, son.
Nah.
Now you on stage with a mic. 2 turntables and a microphone at the library.
I'm trying to read my To Kill a Mockingbird.
Star Trek Rich says Council Bluffs Library has everything, is everything, has everything, and is everything. It really does, man. I'm like, I'm kind of very much very much impressed. Miss Erica Felt says I'm establishing a little library box in front of my house, so I'll take a couple of books. Yeah, there you go, man. You Library ain't got to be on large scale. It can be on a small scale too. I love that.
Actually, I love those little. You ever see those little boxes in front of people's houses, or on the sidewalk at a park? Just go up and swap the books out.
Big
It's a good
time,
idea.
man.
Good
Big
idea.
time. I'm looking at the clock, and guess what? We're running out of time already. This show is flying by, and
Yeah, man.
we have another special guest waiting in the wings that we said come on in at 8:30. So here it is, 8:30, and he is prompt and on time because he is the man with the plan, ladies and gentlemen. John Heaston.
Hey.
Good morning.
The reader
Good morning,
at El
John.
Perico. What's going on, squad?
Yes, yeah. As Aki Kid said in the chat, squad, squad Heaston. Against John Heaston. Man, I don't even know. I'll let you introduce yourself. A lot of hats, a lot of accolades. How would you like to introduce yourself?
Yep, this is John Heaston. I'm the publisher editor over at The Reader in El Perico, and a friend of First Sky. What else can I tell you?
Hey, man, you got so
much. He's been modest.
We decided we made a mistake. We was like, we should just have John on a whole nother day and have a whole hour-long recorded thing that because I want to ask you so many questions. I want people to know how the reader got started. I mean, all the stuff you've been doing for the city all this time. Like, you're a humble dude. You're not going to talk about it all, and we got to get some specifics out there. But I actually, this interview, want you to just come on and talk about what it is that you are hyped about right now. Like, what is the thing that you're excited about right now? I see you got your City Bureau hoodie on because it's all about the Documenters program for us. I know that you're excited about that. Just give me a few things about that you're excited about right now. Let's start there.
Yeah, probably top of the list is going to be Documenters, documenters.org. And for folks that aren't familiar with that, it is, I would say, the leading citizen journalism program in the country. It's been around for, I think, about 4 or 5 years. A group out of Chicago called City Bureau, which is one of the most impressive nonprofit journalism labs out there. Group of 4 folks kind of came together, started that, do a lot of really good things. And Documenters is probably their biggest program. It's in Detroit now. It's anchoring a whole rethinking of local news in Cleveland, just launched in Minneapolis. And so last year they invited folks to apply to see where they should go next, and figured, try and put our hat in the ring, at least, get on the list somewhere. And they came back and said, all right, we like Omaha. We might want to go there next. And so we are diligently working on raising some money so we can start hiring this summer and launch in the fall. And we will be tentatively set. We're going to launch at the same time Atlanta does. So Atlanta and Omaha are the next Documenter city.
Oh, ain't that interesting?
What a coinky dink.
But what it does is it hires and trains folks from the community to cover public meetings, city council, county commissioners, maybe school board. And we got to, nail down the final list. But that way, folks have somebody in the room, front to back. We use some good technology they've developed to really organize the information, make it a lot easier to understand. And then, have somebody just following everything and sharing it out and letting people know what's going on, and doing, going back to their communities to kind of share this knowledge and help folks understand how they can get engaged in this process, right? How they, aren't going to be the spectators, how they can get involved. And so that's probably the biggest thing going right now, because it's coming down the pike fast, and we want to be ready to launch. We don't want Atlanta getting a step on us. They already got one of our best. So
he always trying to get Buddy to come back in town.
He's trying to get me. But I definitely would love to, build a bridge and build that connection to between, the reader and what's going on down here in Atlanta. But I am curious because we just had Rachel Jacobson on talking about the library, and she, sort of mentioned the role that a library can play as far as an information center and bridging a lot of the gaps that exist in the community when it comes to information. And I'm kind of curious to your thoughts about just really the importance of this City Bureau of the Documenters program, how people can get involved if they're interested in becoming a documenter, and really the role that you envision this playing in the long run.
Yeah, so I live with the librarian, and a nationally board certified one at that. So I mean, she's about as librarian as they come. And libraries haven't been the shush zone since you boys were kids. It's supposed to be lively and it's active and people doing all these things. I think it's a really good point. I think there's actually a lot of opportunity, because journalism is really about the first draft of history and what is that information that folks need to know, and it should be working well with the library, right? Like, your library card already gets you access to things like the World Herald archives, like archives from other media. You'll find you can get to some of the archives for the Star, the Omaha Star, right? 1938, got to do some math, 84 years of coverage. And so I'd love to see, as we rethink this library, we also got to rethink local journalism and local media and how we're getting our information and the information that we want. And there's kind of this conversation. I'll just kind of throw this out there. I don't know enough about it. I'm just, picking some things up and thinking aloud here. But there's this idea of kind of a web 3.0 where people own their identities. They really control the interaction on the web. And with that, having a locally sourced social network, I think starts becoming really feasible, right? Because right now we're kind of stuck to a handful of platforms, and I think, you two are old enough to remember when we only had 3 TV stations.
Yeah, TV went off.
And then it went off, yeah. It was dead air at night. So I think there's an opportunity to do something like that. And I think it's something that should be centered in a kind of a civic space, right? Where we all own it, where it's a public good. It should be a community good, and we all have a voice in it. So it'll be interesting to see, what happens. And I think Documenters is important because it's a really significant step in breaking down the wall between media and the community. For the longest time, if you wanted to reach an audience, you needed to have a broadcast license or an industrial printing press, or access to an industrial printing press. Internet blows that up. So if you're not controlling the information anymore, which media doesn't, how do we take a role where we are elevating voices, where we are a referee and a moderator in the conversation? Yes, where we still need to do our important original reporting and where we can dive deeper, trained journalists doing their job. That said, public information is public information, and it belongs to all of us. And just as, you shouldn't wait on the media to tell your story, you can tell your own story now and reach a big audience.
That's what we do.
To wait for the media to tell you what's going on, you can get out there and find out. And so that I think is going to be, I'm hoping I'm a little bit, been drinking the Kool-Aid, as it were, but I'm hoping it, it comes around to where people are able to engage government, hold it accountable, not just on elections every 2 years, but weekly at every meeting. And that sense of engagement helps, restitch a lot of the community fabric that needs to be rebuilt.
Man, that's a great point. It's a great point. It's kind of that's kind of what is birthed, our existence, is seeing that need for the bridging of that gap between media and the public. I mean, and kind of breaking down some of the information, contextualizing some of the information that people just, might see as just information, but how does it impact you? And speaking of that, I don't know, Paul, where you want to go with the conversation, but I did want to touch on the solutions journalism aspect that you introduced, to all of us, and we've been talking about with Chris and Bridget and a lot of the journalists that we have, from the Reader on the show. So I don't know if you want to get into that or where you want to go next.
Yeah, if you can give us a brief explanation on that. I do have some stuff in the chat I want to get to, but yeah, tell us about the solutions journalism side of things.
I want to say that it was in maybe October of 19. I ran into the Solutions Journalism Network, and I was struck that they were not doing a lot with BIPOC-owned media. So one of the things, I guess, I'll just sidetrack here real quick. One of the other big things I'm excited about, I've been really involved working on a collaboration nationally between the alternative press, papers like The Reader, the Hispanic press, papers like Perico and Mundo Latino, and then the Black press, papers like the Omaha Star, right? Nationally, together, we're probably 500-600 dues-paying members, and there's probably another 1,000 plus, of us that aren't formally members of these associations. Well, these three associations have been working together over the last couple of years, and we are now set to launch our second ad transformation lab for BIPOC publishers. I think it'll get announced on Monday, actually.
Hey, exclusive.
Well, people know it's out, but the papers that are going to be a part of it will be announced on Monday. And so we've been able to we led a conversation that helped Facebook and Google distribute $88 million in direct funds during the pandemic to local media. A lot of us got the $5,000 from Google. Telemundo and the World Herald here got $100,000 each from Facebook. We've got probably close to $2.5 million in programming, helping publishers and kind of building this infrastructure and of kind of understanding what are the steps that you need to take. And then there's been about another $1 million plus in direct ad buys that have been going to BIPOC publishers. Wow. So, seeing how we all can kind of work together to support this media ecosystem, because we all have a lot to say. We've been saying it. It's been the rest of the news. You haven't got anywhere else. And I think as this kind of next generation and this next evolution comes along, these are the voices that should be centering the conversation. They were right all along. They've been the voices in the wilderness for so long, but that's what a real diverse community looks like. You have diverse news sources. You got those viewpoints. You respect them because you know them. So I think I totally went sideways on your question, Paul.
No, that was good. We wanted to talk about the solutions journalism. So we were talking,
journalism. Right. So because of that, I got invited. I've been talking to some of these national organizations and trying to help build bridges so that they can bring some of their services and ideas to our group. And they generally had not been very engaged with us at all. So I learned about solutions journalism, which is you don't just report about the problem, you're just as rigorous in your reporting when you're talking about the solutions. And I think folks really need that. It doesn't drive as many clicks. It doesn't drive as much audience, right? Fear, scary things, titillating things. Those are the things people click. But it's important, I think, in the big picture to give people hope and for journalists to really do their job. And it's another example of we thought we knew what journalism was. It's been practiced for hundreds, of years, if not longer, in some form. And the idea that we should report, we should research the solutions is like, this big light bulb that went off.
This brand new thing.
Not that it hadn't been done here and there, but now it had a name and now it had a focus. And it's important that the thinking shift to looking at that because then people have something they can work towards, not just something they can shake their fist at.
There you go. We'll learn. We'll dig deeper into that solutions journalism explanation and things in the future. We got a few more minutes left before we got to let you go. And here's how I would like to spend those last few minutes. In the chat, we have Von Chapman that asks, "Can you help reinvigorate the role of the Omaha Star in North Omaha?" And I would like to spend the next few minutes breaking down how this man right here has saved the Omaha Star. And I would like you to talk a little bit about your journey with the Omaha Star and how much you actually have helped behind the scenes, because nobody knows about this behind the scenes stuff. And I'm gonna bust you out with it. So I'm gonna let you talk about it.
It's supposed to be behind the sscenes. That's why it's behind the scenes.
Hey,
this is
no, it's nothing like that. It's I'm
just saying our audience needs to hear how you and your efforts have enhanced, have helped the Omaha Star. They need to hear this story. Really do.
Well, so in 2014, Dr. Margarita Washington, who I had a great relationship. We would meet maybe, once or twice a year, just catch up, talk, newspaper, that kind of a thing. And when she launched the Mildred D. Brown Memorial Study Center, so that's the 501c3 that was working with the Star, I was invited onto that board, I think in its kind of first iteration. And it was a real honor. I was with a great group. Walter Brooks was our board president. I was really kind of following his lead. I helped write the grant for the turnback tax that helped digitize the archives of the Omaha Star. Fortunately, the State Historical Society had a lot of it already scanned, so digitizing it became a lot easier because they'd scanned all these issues. And then we found some of the missing issues as well. For the Omaha Star, we are missing too many issues from the years about 67 to 71. So if anybody out there has an Omaha Star copy, a print copy from 67 to 71, please call the Omaha Star and let them know what issue you have. So we were able to do that. We worked on Phyllis Hicks, who was the ad director with Dr. Margarita Washington. Between her and Dr. Washington, they kept me pretty busy on a number of other projects. We did an annual fundraiser. And when Dr. Washington's health failed and Phyllis took over, we really started talking about, what was going to be next. And as Phyllis's health was having some health issues, she asked me to work with Frankie Gray, the editor, to work on, what I know and understand really is the ad landscape. You're not a publisher if you don't. And so right. I was doing that kind of work in about 2018, early 2019. But in early 2019, with people like Sherman Willis, who's the board president, John Pierce, Terry Sanders was volunteering her time for practically 2-3 years there. I know I'm missing names, but with the board, and then Michaela McMorris really took this proposal to the Logier to a foundation to get the money for the study center to purchase the Star. Thus, the Star became a program of 501c3 and became a nonprofit. And that really put it on its feet. Terry was volunteering her time. She was able to get the finances, both the advertising and the grant side, kind of in order. So that's got a sustainable piece. I helped write the grant that got the new website. And I think you're going to be seeing a lot of things coming out from the Star. The big focus, and one of the things that she's really had to tackle there, is that building, right? That's on the landmark or the Registry of Historic Landmarks. There's a lot of strings attached to what you can do with it and how you do it. But the study center just purchased the building back. OEDC had stepped in to help out at a point. and they're working on some of the plans for that renovation. And they're doing, I think, a lot of tours and visits right now. I think as that building gets taken care of and as other programs and infrastructure are developed out at the study center, that you also see some more journalism resources coming with the Star. And that's certainly, you know, my hope with that as well. So there's been a lot that's been happening with the Star. You know, I was honored to be able to play a role in that and to help as it was needed. But right now it's, you know, that's kind of what's going on there.
Appreciate it. I know that we were running out of time here on the show, and I know that we had got you down for 15 minutes. We're already 5 over that. We appreciate you staying late and running some of this stuff down. We'll definitely have to have you back and talk about some things as well, and get deeper into some of these stories. But yes, we are very excited about City Bureau and the Documenters program as well. And we're excited about the fact that we have been partnered with you guys over there at the Reader all this time. It's been a really great partnership. I'm glad that we're getting deeper into it and helping each other really kind of fight. This is a fight for social justice, man. And I'm really proud that, yeah, I'm really proud that the Reader don't pull no punches, goes deep dives with these things, listens to our input. All of our listeners here, this is how we get our ideas, and when we bring them to that editorial meeting, it's we're bringing 40 or 50 other chat chimers here with us with some of these ideas, and we love to see it when you guys take it and print it, and you know, we have, it's like one big discussion in the city, and it's just what we need. So
you guys are running a great thing here, and big shout out to your audience as well, because that's, you know, this relationship that you've been building in the community. It's awesome to watch, and you know, so glad we get to partner.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, take care.
We'll let you go. See you later, man. Talk soon.
See ya.
All right, John Heaston. I got to tell you, man, the brother's being humble. He saved he saved the Omaha Star from going under several times. So we'll get him to break that story down. We were around hanging out and doing things with him while all this stuff was going on. So we got to see it firsthand, and just really appreciate that. Yep.
Yeah, and as an artist in the Omaha area, we didn't even touch on the whole Sokol point and what the Sokol venue means to the Omaha music scene.
That's what I'm saying. He's responsible for getting the Sokol Auditorium up. He was part of starting Omaha Loco. I mean, we can go on and on about the things that this cat has done for the city, and we will do that at some point. Let's take a quick break, come back, and hopefully we can jump into one of the things that we need to talk about before we get to the haps, or we just do the haps.
Let's do a lightning round, and then we'll knock out some haps.
That sounds really good. Stay tuned. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd on this freaky fast Friday. It's going down. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Don't you go nowhere. Chat's going off. Miss Erica Fell says, thank you for giving in-home childcare business a voice. Nebraska provider spot thanks you. Talking to John, talking about the Reader. New Najiel says, great guest. Appreciate that.
Brother Najee, what's good?
Augie Kid said, didn't he bring Loco here? Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Omaha Loco. Brenda Jackson says, thank you, John, with some applause. I appreciate that.
Round.
Also, Von Chapman says, please make sure the Omaha Star has a role in the new library system.
Ooh.
Very, very, very good idea.
Miss Jacobson, if you're still in the chat.
There you go. Appreciate that, man. Let's see who else. Yeah, I'll get kisses. John is that dude. Yeah, for sure. Squad Heaston. That's what's up. Brooke said that's my jam. Oh, thanks, Brooke. Appreciate you.
Hey.
Omar Valentine says that role of the Omaha Star might need to be redefined. The producers of news in North Omaha are not using their paper method of distributing information. There will need to be a creative and incentivizing approach to bring the current and future street journalists under an umbrella, such as the Omaha Star. I would recommend they focus on creating a journalism school and provide programs to create the next generation of journalists. As a learning project and or internship, the publication would then have a team to contribute. And by being a training provider, there's more money available to bring in and allow them to not be so reliant on subscriptions for their function of the company.
Brother Valentine,
you right on the money.
we got to bring you on.
You right on the money. All this is being discussed and is working. And Terry Sanders is working on this. This whole Star 3.0. John Heaston is behind trying to turn this into more of a journalistic venture. The Mildred D. Brown nonprofit that's behind the Star used to have a young journalist program that is trying to be revitalized. Mm-hmm. You're right on point. All this stuff is being talked about, and people feel the same way, and it's happening. So yeah, we need to connect you. We need to go ahead and say let's get some. Yeah, we can do that. Get some of those youth over there to do that for sure.
And what we're doing, not just to mention the Star, but it's the whole ecosystem. Like you don't know how much of what you just said is already in the works, Brother Valentine, between us, the Star, Noise, Flatwater Free Press, the Reader. Like, these are all organizations that we should all be supporting, and we are all working together to build that ecosystem. And actually, we had our citizen journalism seminar that we're still working on that too, with all of those partners. So all of those moves are being made. All of that stuff is in the works, and if you're interested, we would love to have you.
Absolutely, not just interested, but not just we would love to have you. We need to have you because you can help get some of this stuff rolling for sure. So I'm glad we're doing this. It's the squad. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, man.
Definitely check out all of this. And yes, thank you, Brother Rich, for putting that KIOS.org in there too. New partner of ours, KIOS. It's our NPR station here, 91.5.
Yep.
We're going to be doing some work with them very soon as well, and we'll be representing over there for Sky Omaha. So stay tuned for some of that action and so many more things that's happening. As a matter of fact,
I feel some
haps coming on. I'm gonna play it a little bit so little man get his dance on again. That was hilarious. Hey, what's happening? Ladies and gentlemen, time for the haps. A few things we want to talk about that you ought to check out maybe this weekend, and get your haps together for us as well. Let us know what is good and what's going on this weekend, things we need to check out, things we need to put on the Friends of First Sky Omaha site for everybody to see. In the meantime, buddy, got some haps for the peoples.
Yeah, actually, it is. One thing happening is Black History Month going on right now. There's actually a list of events and Black businesses to support. So I'm going to post that if that's all right for you. You go ahead for your checkout pleasure. So yeah, again, happy Black History Month to everybody out there. Also, this is one thing that we've been paying close attention to. Big shout out to brothers Terrell McKinney and Justin Wayne. Put some respect on their name. This is one thing that we should be paying attention to. This is LB 1024. Senators Justin Wayne and Terrell McKinney put some respect on their name. Finally introduced a proposal for that $450 million ARPA fund ask that we've been talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, man. And the proposal includes 100 homes being built, rehabbing 200 more, graduating 500 people from high demand job training programs, and providing financial support for 1,000 interns to help them graduate on time. Also assisting 100 small businesses, creating industrial park, just to name a few of the things, man. So a big shout out again, LB 1024, if you'd like to find out more about it, you can look into that. And shout out to Senators Justin Wayne and Terrell McKinney. Put some respect on their names. That's one thing that's definitely happening that we should pay attention to. Actually, man, Brother Rich on top of it, dropping the link in the chat. So LB 1024, definitely look out for that. Also, let's see what else is happening here in the area. Big shout out to Brother Omar Valentine. He just dropped his information in the chat because there's still the WIOA program that's being pushed again, trying to get youth into some positions, trying to get some money in their pockets. I believe the jobs that he was looking for is video production, media production, things like that. So again, if you know some young people interested in getting into those fields, please contact Brother Omar Valentine and working with that WIOA program.
And even furthermore, what we really need is help from y'all. If you know youth in between the age of 18 and 24 that needs some work, that wants to go in a certain direction here, we need you to call them out. If you got kids, then let them know. We were trying to get some help over here, and it was suggested to us that if we knew anybody, send them to the program. It's not like people are lining up for this program ready to go work somewhere. So we need y'all's help to really kind of dig deep, find some nephews and some cousins and some nieces and some sons and daughters that are that age that want to be a part of these things, and then hit Brother Omar up to sign up for these programs. So we're making a call out for that so that we can get the help we need as well.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So other than that, man, that's pretty much all I have for any of the haps. As always, if there's anything going on that you would like to spread the information about, like to let the people know about, feel free to drop that into the Friends of First Sky Omaha page. It's all going down there. Actually, there is this. I just came across this. Definitely check this out if you have the opportunity. A double feature. Big shout out to Leo Adam Bigger for I think he's hosting this. But it's a double feature of Out of Omaha and Brother Ernie Chambers' A Time for Burning.
Yo, two great movies.
Yes.
On the Omaha experience.
Yes. So again, I'll drop this Noise Omaha link in the chat. But this will be a double feature that's showing it begins today and it goes until the 10th. And it will be at Exarban Cinema. So again, a double feature at Exarban Cinema from today until the 10th of those two films. Do yourself a favor, check those out.
Yep, mask up and be safe, but go definitely check it out. Yeah, right on, it's 9:01 right now, buddy. You got some words for the people?
Man, as always, we appreciate you. We love you. We thank you. A big shout out to our special guest for joining the conversation today, Miss Rachel Jacobson and Squad Heaston. Mr. John Heaston definitely appreciated that conversation, and hopefully everyone out there did appreciate it and learn, and got some good stuff to take away from the conversation today. Big shout out to all the chat chimers out there. We definitely love and appreciate y'all, and even the ghost listeners, all of you out there that don't really chime into the chat. Snaps Dennis in the chat. Big shout out to you, sis. Yeah, man, everybody, all the chat chimers, all the listeners, all the fam, all the friends out there. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're growing. We're moving. We appreciate you. We love you. We thank you. Paul B, take it away.
Yo, Miss Erica Fell says, great show that brought awareness and inspiration. Thank you. May everyone have a great weekend. Keep your space, drink water, and be good to yourselves. Appreciate you. Vaughn Chapman says, I nominate Omar Valentine for Community Youth Coordinator.
All right. We got a mayor and a community youth coordinator out of here.
We're building a whole government in this mug.
All right.
Pop says, another show at light speed. Thank you, Squad and First Sky fam. Have a great weekend. See you Monday. Appreciate it. Brother Valentine says it's illegal for us to roll up to their houses and pull them away from the PlayStation. So, so we got to depend on y'all to call these young folks out. Augie Kid says, I've been kicking it with my cousin 19 in between jobs right now. Joe. Okay, so you got a name for us, Joa Jones.
Yeah,
come on, Joa.
Send them through.
Brenda Jackson says, great show, appreciate it. Josh Tate says, hit me up for Ticks this Sunday afternoon. Concert at the Jocelyn Art Museum featuring St. George's Violin Concerto. Look him up and hit me up. Thanks for the invite, bro. I'm definitely gonna check that out for sure.
Nice.
Snaps Dennis says, great show, appreciate it.
Yeah, that's my sis. Hey, Snaps, man. If you know anybody that has that any young people specifically looking for some jobs, brother Enomar Valentine in this chat. We trying to team some people up with some jobs, get some money in some young people's pockets.
There it is. Wanda Lewis, I did miss Brother Muhammad's announcement. I'm sorry about that. Let me see if I can catch it in the meantime. We need to get out of here. We'll go back and look at it, and then we'll come back and put it on the Friends of First Sky. Sorry about that, Brother Muhammad, if I missed your comment there. Yeah. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Running for school board.
There we go. Yeah.
Brother Muhammad putting his money where his mouth. You know the
man.
phrase I'm trying to
You messed that one up. But yeah, we're gonna might have to bring Brother Melvin on for an interview, man. To do a campaign spiel. That's good news.
That's what's up.
Before we get out of here, free Ernest Jackson.
We'll say, bro, it's 2/4/222. Ernest Jackson still not free. Ed Poindexter still not free.
All right,
here it is. Look into it this weekend if you get a chance, man. There's still stuff that we can do. So appreciate everybody that chimed into the chat and came into the show today. I want to give thanks to the Omaha Tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. I want to give thanks to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. I want to give a shout out to Star Trek Rich and the Weberized crew for allowing us to broadcast here live at Weberized Studios. If you have podcast ideas, go to Weberized.com. We definitely want to encourage you to do so if you have a legit podcast idea, because these are the experts around here. Check them out. I want to give a shout out to Buddi, his family, for allowing us to be in the living room in Atlanta, Georgia, with the family that's in the back trying to be real quiet so Daddy can do his thing up front. Appreciate you, and we appreciate all of you who are reoccurring members and sponsors of the show as well. If you have not donated or become a reoccurring member or sponsor of the show and are so inclined to do so, please go to firstskyOmaha.com, hit the donate button, and congratulations to Brother Muhammad for his run. Can't wait to talk to you soon about that. Let's get it for sure. Thank you for everybody. Brenda Jackson's contact for the youth program again. What was that contact up there? Get with brother Valentine. He's got his information in the chat there. Let me see if I can find it real quick for you.
Man, we got buried real quick.
It really does, man. Here, I'm gonna show it.
Yeah,
okay, there you go. So definitely check him out for the youth program. If you got some people there, because that organization pays them. So even if you're a small business and you need some help, this is a really good way to do that. Plus to mentor some young folks and get them in the right direction and get them off that PlayStation. So thank you very much for everything that you guys have done for us. I'm sorry that we're running so late, and we will get our timing down one of these days, but appreciate you guys sticking around. We're going to get out of here. So you guys have a good one, and have a great weekend, man. Stay cool. Stay warm this weekend. And we'll definitely see you Monday, and we'll continue this thing we call First Sky Omaha. So have a good one, y'all. Peace.
By the way, Vanguard. This is protected by the red